Boys and girls, ladies, what's happening? Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, gangsters of all ages, what's happening? Thought I'd come to y'all tonight. Whoa, okay, can you hear me? Thought I'd come to y'all. Wait, hold on, hear me? Hear me? There you go. Bring y'all the story of Dr. Death. Back in the 70s, this brother was terrifying the mob. He was terrifying the Italian Mafia out of Detroit City. Oh yeah, call him Dr. Death. And without further ado, here we go. Let's bring it up.
February 6th, 1975. Orchard Lake, Michigan. Nice neighborhood, quiet streets, big lawns, the kind of place where nothing happens, where people sleep with their windows open. A rented Oldsmobile is speeding down a narrow road. It comes around a bend and nearly collides head-on with a patrol car. The cop hits his brakes. The Oldsmobile does not stop. High-speed chase. The Oldsmobile runs the police car off the road. More units called. Miles of pursuit through a Detroit suburb that has not seen a crime all year. They finally stop the car. Behind the wheel, a black man, 44 years old, scar tissue across his hands. Calm, not panic, not running, just sitting there, like he had been expecting this moment his entire life. Officers search the vehicle. 2 semi-automatic pistols, a rifle, a sawed-off shotgun, several ounces of heroin, a stolen police uniform from Toledo, espionage equipment, cash, a lot of cash. But none of that is why 6 law enforcement agencies would spend the next 2 decades fighting over this case. In the trunk, notebooks, handwritten, meticulous, page after page after page. The names and home addresses of over 300 cops, judges, prosecutors, and politicians. The daily habits of recent murder victims documented before they were killed. Sealed grand jury files that no civilian should ever possess. Locations of every safe house, drug den, and witness in the city of Detroit. This man had been running a one-man intelligence operation more sophisticated than anything the Detroit Police Department had ever built. He had cops on payroll running license plates for him through the Law Enforcement Information Network. He had stolen a police uniform and badge. He kept surveillance equipment, disguises, aliases. The officers stared at the notebooks. Then they stared at the man. His name was Chester Wheeler Campbell. He had nicknames: Dr. Death, the Angel of Death, the Undertaker, 007. Federal authorities would later estimate he personally killed over 50 people. He was convicted of murder exactly once, in 1955. Never again. Every witness who tried to testify against him ended up dead. One was found in the protection wing of a maximum security federal prison with his throat cut and X's carved into his eyelids. When Campbell's lawyer was asked about the dead witness, he told the judge something that made the courtroom go silent. Chester does not need to be physically present to conduct business. And the most dangerous thing about Chester Wheeler Campbell was not his gun. It was not his body count. It was not even his near-genius IQ. It was the fact that the Italian Mafia, the Tocco Zerilli crime family, the same organization connected to the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa, did not just tolerate this man. They needed him. They funded him. They staked his crew. They gave him their drug supply lines because Chester Wheeler Campbell was so good at what he did that Detroit's most powerful crime family could not operate without a black man doing their killing for them. This is the story they never told you.
You're sitting there thinking, how the heck do people get to have their podcast?
.007, the real John Wick, a man who dressed only in black, attended plays and museums, studied foreign languages, kept assassin's notebooks, and built a criminal empire so terrifying that both sides of the law wanted him dead. And when they finally caught him, he looked at his cellmate and said 7 words: "I'm a dead man. Whether I stay in here or get out, brother, I'm dead." Chester Wheeler Campbell was born in 1930 in Detroit. He was the 4th of 6 children. His father died when Chester was in the 2nd grade, and his mother raised 6 kids alone. Here is what made Chester different from every other gangster you have ever heard of. He was the only one in his family who went criminal. 5 siblings, all of them law-abiding, 1 mother doing her best, and 1 son who chose a different path. By the age of 15, he was incarcerated for burglary in 1946, a child in a cell. Whatever chance he had at a normal life ended before he could drive. By the age of 20, he faced 2 more burglary charges. His photograph was already displayed in the precinct station house. The cops knew his face, and they were watching him, waiting. They did not have to wait long. On July 1st, 1955, in Detroit, on Lawton Street, Chester was 24 years old. He and 2 partners, David Green and Watson Brooks, planned to rob a numbers spot, a gambling apartment. They masked their faces with handkerchiefs. They had 2 pistols between them. Outside the apartment, they encountered Luther Mixon, 43 years old, standing near an expensive car. The robbers demanded to know who owned it. Mixon said nothing. Campbell pistol whipped him. Mixon fell and tried to get back on his feet. Campbell fired a round into his face. Then they went inside the apartment. Inside were 4 people, John and
And by the way, I'm back on it. Yeah, man. I can't be the war correspondent too long. You know, you just give me the blues. I ain't trying to give my people the blues. I'm trying to uplift y'all while I warn y'all between the ages of 18 and 25, 27, something like that. They are implementing the draft. And as we speak, they do have ground troops heading that way. But of course, they always give the okie doke and say, oh, just because they're going doesn't mean we're going to have them in anything. Ha ha ha. Well, we already know better than that now, don't we, people? So power to the people, Black Power, and yours truly, the Black Ophanim Lion TV, and I'm back on that gangster shit. Yeah, we're going to hit. We got to keep going with MOBSTER files, and I might come, well, ain't no might. Whenever I see that creepy stuff, I'm going to come to y'all with that, it's been a minute, nightmare fuel. If it's nightmare fuel, I'm going to give it to you. But right now, we on some gangster shit. Yeah.
Julia Jackson, Roosevelt Williams, and Emmett Carter. They robbed them all at gunpoint and beat them. Their total take was $420, including what they pulled from the pockets of the man bleeding out in the street. $420 for a man's life. They arrested Campbell the next day. An officer recognized him from the precinct wall photo, the same photo they had been staring at for years. The witnesses from the apartment identified him in a lineup. He was charged with first-degree murder in January 1956 and sent to Michigan State Prison, known as Jackson Prison, one of the most violent penitentiaries in America. Chester Wheeler Campbell walked in as a street robber who killed a man over $420. 13 years later, he walked out as something else entirely. Here's what nobody expected. Campbell didn't waste a single day inside Jackson Prison. While other inmates fought and gambled and waited for parole, Chester studied. He studied criminal law, homicide investigation techniques, and foreign languages. He read everything he could find: books on surveillance, books on espionage, books on forensics. He scored near genius level on a court-administered IQ test. He learned new criminal trades from the most dangerous men in Michigan: safe cracking, weapons, drug distribution networks, the economics of heroin, who controlled what in Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago. 13 years. That's how long Chester Wheeler Campbell spent preparing for what came next. In September 1969, he pleaded his case down to second-degree murder. The court transcript is chilling because of how calm he is. The judge asked, "Do you know where he was killed?" Campbell answered, "On the street." The judge said, "Tell me the circumstances." Campbell said, "In the process, I shot Mr. Mixon." The judge asked, "After that, what happened?" Campbell said, "I think I went through his pockets." He said it like he was recalling a trip to the grocery store. No remorse, no emotion, just facts. They paroled him in September 1969. He was 38 years old. Within 1 month, police suspected him in a double homicide. Jimmy Davis and his girlfriend Lisa were both shot execution style in the head while sitting in a parked car. Davis had been a protected witness in trials against heroin kingpin John Klassen. The man who was supposed to be safe, who the government promised to protect, was dead with a bullet in his brain within weeks of Chester Wheeler Campbell walking free. But they could not prove it. No witnesses, no evidence connecting Campbell directly. That became the pattern. That was always the pattern. And what Chester did next would make the Italian Mafia take notice. After prison, Chester Wheeler Campbell did not become a drug dealer. He did not become a gang leader. He did not try to build an empire. He became something far more valuable and far more dangerous: a freelance assassin, available to anyone who could pay his fee. His fee was $15,000 per hit, an astronomical, almost unheard of amount in Detroit in the 1970s. But people paid it because Chester Wheeler Campbell did not just kill. He was an artist of death. He wore only black, head to toe, every day, to accentuate what he called his morbid aura. He wanted you to see him coming and to know what he was before he opened his mouth. Here is the contradiction that made him terrifying. This man, this contract killer, spent his free time attending plays, browsing museums, and studying foreign languages. He was cultured, well-spoken, and surprisingly charming. He could walk into a room full of educated people and nobody would suspect what he was. Then he could walk out of that room and execute someone in a parked car before dinner. He used aliases, Augustus Miller and others. He maintained disguises. He had a stolen Toledo police uniform, complete with badge and commander's hat, that he used for surveillance and infiltration. The badge had been reported lost by a Toledo officer who said he misplaced it while helping a disabled motorist. Campbell had probably taken it from a corrupt cop on his payroll. And the notebooks. Always the notebooks. From the moment he left Jackson Prison, Chester began building something unprecedented: a personal intelligence database. Every contact, every conversation, every license plate, every address, every habit of every person, criminal or cop, who crossed his path. He gathered information through surveillance, gossip, shadowing, payoffs, and simply talking to people, from mobsters to motorcycle clubs, hookers to hitmen, pushers to pimps, Detroit to Cleveland. He made the rounds and he wrote everything down. This was not a street thug keeping a score sheet. This was a spy operation run by one man out of the trunk of a rented Oldsmobile. He even had access to the Law Enforcement Information Network, spelled LEIN, the police database. Cops on the drug lord's payroll would run plates for him. He could identify any car, find any address, and track any person. He once told friends at a bar, drink in hand with a slight grin, that he was one of God's unfortunate creatures. He said it like a joke. It was not a joke. Picture the Louisade Social Club, East Side Detroit, early 1970s, a private Italian social club. The kind of place where men in pressed shirts drink espresso and talk business in half sentences, where the walls have no ears because nobody walks in without an invitation. Anthony Giacalone, known as Tony Jack, sits at a table. His brother Vito Giacalone, known as Billy Jack, sits beside him. These are the street-level commanders of the Taco Zerilli crime family, the Detroit Mafia. Tony Jack would later become infamous as one of the men connected to the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa on July 30th, 1975. That's who we're talking about. A black man walks through the door, head to toe in black. Nobody stops him. Nobody questions him. In a room where no black man should be welcome, Chester Wheeler Campbell sits down at the table. Because the Giacalones had a problem. The heroin trade was exploding, and whoever controlled heroin controlled Detroit. But the old arrangement was dying. The quiet, black, gambling bosses who had worked for the Italians for years, doing what they were told, staying in their lane, were being replaced. A new generation, independent thinkers, volatile drug kingpins, men who didn't want to pay tribute to the Italians anymore. The Giacalones needed someone who could move through Detroit's black neighborhoods without standing out. Someone who could enforce their heroin operations in territories where an Italian face meant a bullet. Someone whose reputation alone could keep an entire side of the city in line. They didn't find that man. That man found them. Chester Wheeler. Campbell had been freelancing since prison, killing for whoever paid. But the Giacalones offered something better than a fee. They offered infrastructure, supply lines, protection, money, a permanent position in the most powerful crime organization in Michigan. Not as an employee, not as a servant, as their chosen weapon. Campbell was placed in the East Side camp, connected to a crew of black enforcers working directly under the Giacalone wing. Contract killers, extortionists, drug traffickers, a subunit of the Italian mafia staffed entirely by black men. They would later be called Murder Row, and Chester Wheeler Campbell was the reason anyone feared that name. Around late 1973, Campbell was introduced through mutual acquaintances in the mafia to two young East Side heroin dealers, Frank Usher, known as Big Frank Nitti, and Harold Morton, known as the Hawk. The Giacalone brothers had given Usher his nickname, Big Frank Nitti, after the real Chicago mobster. That tells you everything about the relationship. The Italians weren't just doing business with these men.
Can't drive at night because of vision problem?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Join the MOBSTER files with me. It's time to go into the corner silence.
I am deeply concerned about the conference room. What? Conference room.
How's that? He's concerned about the conference room.
I want it thoroughly inspected for hidden devices, microphones, bombs.
What?
Building them in their own image. Usher and Morton had ambition. What they lacked was fear. Nobody was afraid of two young dealers. Every corner had young dealers. Then Chester Campbell walked in. Here's how it worked. A dealer owed money, hadn't paid in weeks, thought he could outrun the debt. Campbell didn't chase him, didn't threaten him. He just parked outside the man's house in the morning, in the same rented car, in the same all-black clothes, in the same spot. For 3 days, never got out, never knocked, never said a word. On the 4th day, the man walked out with an envelope full of cash and handed it through the window. That was Chester when things went well. When things didn't go well, bodies turned up in parked cars with bullets in the back of the head and no witnesses within miles. With Campbell's reputation, the Giacalone brothers' money and supply lines, and Usher's ambition, Murder Row became the most powerful drug operation in the entire state of Michigan. Not Detroit, not the East Side, the entire state. The Michigan Federated Democratic Social Club in Midtown became their headquarters. From there, Murder Row expanded operations citywide, gambling, extortion, prostitution. But heroin was the engine. Heroin was always the engine. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. Through all of this, the killings, the heroin, the Italian mafia, Chester's mother was still alive, still in Detroit, still the same woman who raised 6 kids alone after her husband died. 5 of those kids turned out fine, church-going, law-abiding. And then there was Chester, the son who dressed in all black and came home for dinner with blood on his reputation and cash in his pockets that his mother knew better than to ask about. She never disowned him. He never stopped visiting. That's the part of Chester Wheeler Campbell that doesn't fit the legend. The part that reminds you he was a human being. A man who scored near genius on an IQ test, who could have been anything, who had a mother who loved him, and who chose to become the most feared killer in Detroit anyway. Because everyone in that city's underworld knew the same thing. If you crossed Murder Row, Chester would find you. He already had your name in his notebook. He already knew your address. He already knew what car you drove. The question wasn't whether he could find you. The question was whether you'd see him first. Chester Campbell was suspected in at least 10 homicide investigations between 1969 and 1975. 10 that police knew about. The real number, according to federal authorities, was north of 50. He was never convicted, not because police didn't try. They tried constantly. They built cases. They found witnesses. They prepared prosecutions. Then the witnesses died. In 1971, he was charged with intent to murder a star witness in a drug trial. The charges were dropped before trial. Then came the Roy Parsons case, a 1972 murder. Police had their witness, a man named James Lee Newton, street name Watusi Slim. Watusi Slim wasn't some random bystander. He was a one-time Campbell confidant and business partner. He knew everything. He could connect Chester to murders going back years. The prosecution thought they finally had the case that would put Campbell away forever. They put Watusi Slim in protective custody, a maximum security federal prison in Ohio. The protection wing, the safest place the government could put a human being short of an underground bunker. It didn't matter. Watusi Slim was found dead, throat cut, eyelids marked with X's, in the protection wing of a maximum security federal prison. The X's on the eyelids. Think about that. That wasn't just murder. That was a message to every potential witness in every pending case against Chester Wheeler Campbell. We can reach you anywhere, even in the one place the government swears is safe. All murder charges against Campbell were dropped. His lawyer stood before the judge and said it plainly. No shame, no apology. Words that echoed through Detroit's legal system like a gunshot. Chester doesn't need to be physically present to conduct business.
Hey, Daddy.
The judge heard it. The prosecutors heard it. Every cop in Detroit heard it, and nobody could do a thing about it. February 6th, 1975, the night that changed everything. Chester was driving to his girlfriend's home in Orchard Lake, a wealthy suburb. Campbell had been living two lives, killer in the streets of Detroit and gentleman caller in the quiet suburbs. His girlfriend's house was full of his belongings, weapons, documents, and more notebooks. He came around a bend and nearly hit a patrol car. Instead of stopping, instead of showing his license and playing it cool like any smart criminal would, Chester Wheeler. Campbell hit the gas. High-speed chase through a suburb that had never seen one. He ran a police car off the road. More units joined. They finally stopped him. The car was a gold mine. 2 semi-automatic pistols, a rifle, a sawed-off shotgun, several ounces of heroin, and the notebooks. When they searched his house in Detroit and his girlfriend's home in Orchard Lake, the picture got worse. Documents bearing the names, addresses, and personal details of cops, politicians, judges, gangsters, addicts, witnesses, and prosecutors, sealed grand jury files, espionage equipment, the stolen Toledo police uniform and badge, an estimated $250,000 in cash, and a list, what prosecutors would call a hit list, the names and daily habits of people who were already dead, alongside names of people who were still alive. The implication was obvious. The living names were next. Among those names, L. Brooks Patterson, a well-known assistant prosecutor in Oakland County, who would later call Campbell absolutely incorrigible and a dedicated recidivist. 6 law enforcement agencies, Detroit Police, Oakland County, Wayne County, the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF, immediately began fighting over the notebooks.
Recidivist?
Not cooperating, fighting, because whoever controlled Chester Campbell's intelligence had leverage over the entire Detroit underworld and the police forces that were supposed to be clean. The corruption ran that deep. The Detroit Free Press uncovered it obsessively. The notebooks didn't just expose criminals, they exposed the true extent of Detroit's rot. Cover-ups, bribes, homicides, espionage, racism, addiction, rampant greed. And Chester knew it. In his cell, he reportedly told a fellow inmate, "I'm a dead man. Whether I stay in here or get out, brother, I'm dead." He wasn't wrong, just not in the way he expected. With Campbell locked up, Murder Row was finished. Not immediately, but inevitably. Chester had been the fear. Without him, the crew was just drug dealers with guns, and Detroit had 1,000 of those. The power inside Murder Row shifted. A lieutenant named Doc Holliday, real name Clarence Hillary, had been waiting for his moment. With Chester gone, Doc decided the leadership needed to change, violently. One night in 1979, at the Michigan Federated Democratic Social Club, Murder Row's own headquarters, Doc Holliday ordered 3 men killed, not rivals, not enemies, his own people, James McJoy, Herbert Jackson, Alvin Clark. 3 Murder Row members who had sided with Frank Usher over Doc in the internal struggle for control. They were shot. Then it got worse. Doc ordered the bodies dismembered, heads removed, limbs separated, body parts placed into garbage bags. And he forced Frank Usher, the founder of Murder Row, the man the Giacalones had personally mentored, to participate, to pick up a blade and cut apart the bodies of men who had been loyal to him. While it happened, Doc Holliday popped a bottle of champagne, lit a fat cigar, and celebrated. Then he sent 2 men to dump the garbage bags. They were sloppy. The remains were found. The case unraveled. Usher was convicted. Doc Holliday was acquitted, But the streets have their own justice system. In 1983, someone walked up to Doc while he was having a drink at a Detroit night spot and shot him dead. The Giacalone brothers watched all of this from a distance. They had lost their enforcer. Then they had lost their crew. The most powerful black drug operation in Michigan, the one they had personally funded and built, destroyed itself in 4 years without Chester Wheeler Campbell to hold it together. They moved on. They always moved on. New crews, new enforcers, new faces, but they never found another Chester. Campbell was convicted on weapons and drug charges in Oakland County, 40 to 60 months. Wayne County added 20 to 30 months under the habitual offender statute, federal charges for the sawed-off shotgun stacked on top. He fought for his money from prison. He filed dozens of legal briefs. He railed against everyone. The courts actually ruled in his favor and ordered the $250,000 returned. But by then, the IRS had taken it. The money was gone forever. He also orchestrated things from inside. A plot to kidnap 4 judges was discovered and traced back to Campbell while he was sitting in Oakland County Jail. All 20 of Detroit's Recorder's Court judges received extra security.
You didn't start your business to do taxes.
Well, all right now. What's happening? Everybody partying on the mothership. Check out the left-hand corner real quick. Wow, how about that? For the people, y'all. All right. Well, look here. We got a quick song. While they do their thing, we do our thing. We'll be right back. More of that.
I went to St. Louis, Missouri the other day. They had Black Panthers from all over the country. No one knew about it at all. They had machine guns, recoilless rifles, grease guns, Lugers, 25 of them, all armed. And the chief policeman here at the airport when I arrived, he was there, right there at the steps. He said he was violating the law. Yeah, we're violating the law. He said, we're tired of our white and black leaders, Jackie and Martin and Bobby being killed. We're going to protect this man right here. They didn't arrest one of them. Because they said if you arrest one, then someone's going to die. Because we are ready to kill.
Y'all getting your attack?
Black power means black dignity. Just as surely as you're proud to be white, we're proud to be black. Black is beautiful, baby. It's pretty. I always say to my brothers, I say, they didn't worry about the white chicks. We got everything from chalk to charcoal in our own race. That's it. Black is beautiful. Black power means dignity.
Check that.
Means we're gonna walk side by side with you, or through you. We're gonna be with dignity and integrity. We don't want any more than you have, and we're not gonna accept any less than you have. That's my problem.
Ow! Y'all can hit the catch now before rubber. Give me a cup of coffee or something. Actually, I get more equipment. Y'all know how to do it. We gotta step up. Step it up. Stepping up. Check that. People show if you always play Japan for the radio phone. Yeah.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you take a knife and my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's below me. And they haven't even begun to pull a knife out, much less trying to heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
Won't even admit the knife is there. So let's get it home, baby. Get black on this gangster stuff. Well, gangster you know.
September 1984. He was paroled. He walked out into a different Detroit. Murder Row was dead. The Giacalones had moved on. The heroin game had changed. Crack was coming. New players, young players, players who had never heard of Chester Wheeler Campbell. But Chester didn't know how to be anything else. April 1985, 7 months after release, somebody shot Chester Wheeler Campbell multiple times in the leg and thigh. An 11-hour surgery saved his life. Reporters showed up at the hospital. Cameras, microphones, questions about who shot him, why, and what he planned to do about it. Chester Wheeler Campbell, the man who had killed 50 people, who had the Italian Mafia on speed dial, who had kept notebooks on every cop in Detroit, looked at the reporters and said, "I don't have anything newsworthy to say." Then he went back to work. In 1987, déjà vu. Chester Wheeler Campbell was pulled over again. Same story, different year. A carload of guns, drugs, explosives, spy gear. Prosecutor L. Brooks Patterson, the same man whose name had appeared in Campbell's notebooks 12 years earlier, stood in court and called Campbell absolutely incorrigible, a dedicated recidivist and a heavy-duty criminal. The sentence was 40 years. Chester was 57 years old. He was never coming home, and everyone in that courtroom knew it. For the next 14 years, Chester Wheeler Campbell sat in a federal prison. The man who only wore black, the man who went to museums and plays, the man who studied foreign languages and kept a spy operation in his trunk, the man the Italian Mafia chose above all others. He died on a prison bed in a federal medical facility in 2001. The official cause of death was end-stage liver disease, hepatitis C, natural causes. Chester Wheeler Campbell, Dr. Death, the Angel of Death, the Undertaker, 007, died of natural causes. He was 71 years old. Here's what stays with me. Chester Wheeler. Campbell killed over 50 people. He was convicted of murder exactly once in 1955 for $420. He spent 30 of his 71 years behind bars, not for the 50-plus murders, for guns, for drugs, for being caught with the wrong things in the wrong car at the wrong time. Every witness who tried to put him away for what he actually did ended up dead, including one in the most protected facility the United States government could provide. Throat cut, X marks on his eyelids. The Italian Mafia, one of the most powerful crime organizations in American history, chose a black man from Detroit as their most trusted weapon. Not an employee, not a tool, a partner. A man they funded, protected, and needed. And the thing that scared everyone, cops, mobsters, prosecutors, judges, drug dealers, witnesses, wasn't the guns, it wasn't the body count, it was the notebooks. Because Chester Wheeler Campbell understood something that most criminals never grasp. Information is more dangerous than any weapon ever made. A bullet kills one person. A notebook with the right names, the right addresses, the right secrets, controls an entire city. He gathered intelligence the way a spy would: surveillance, payoffs, shadowing, contacts. He tracked everyone, and he wrote it all down. When they found those notebooks in the trunk of that Oldsmobile, 6 law enforcement agencies went to war with each other, not to bring Campbell to justice, but to control the information he had collected. Inside those pages were every dirty secret Detroit had been hiding for a decade. Those notebooks were the real weapon. That's the real story of Chester Wheeler Campbell. Not just a hitman, not just a killer. A man who turned knowledge into the most terrifying weapon in Detroit. The real John Wick did not exist in a movie. He drove a rented Oldsmobile through Orchard Lake, Michigan. The only thing that stopped him was not a rival gang, not the FBI, not the Italian Mafia. It was a narrow road and a patrol car coming the other direction. One near collision. That was all that separated Chester Wheeler Campbell from never being caught at all.
It's never been easier to start a podcast.
Well, all right. Let's do this thing. I think we got one more song. What y'all think? Memoirs of a Black Panther on this joint. I'm telling you now. We got to watch over ours, you know. But it takes all kinds. And believe me, they got all kind out there. But we ain't going for it now, are we? Matter of fact, we coming with no warning.
No warning, I'm coming deep in the underground. Like TMJ said, I ain't fucking around. Don't give a fuck what they say. I'm coming in politely. So don't play, tread lightly. Justice and me is both blind, see. Didn't come to run away. Stand out the box. Baby. I came to stay, make a plan for a better way today. I got to get my RPG nation about this situation that we're in. They got me running the circle. Can I leave you a sip or a light real quick? They make it just get real big. But no warning, I'm coming knee deep in the underground. Like GJ say, we ain't fucking around.
That's right.
I'm a renegade, never drink no hater aid. It's just how I'm made. Sharp as a razor blade. Brown man still a bad mother for you. Real deal, like something you can feel. And you speak ill of me, like the F told the G. If you ever with me, get ready for therapy. They never know I'm a phantom night rider. In it for the people. Project Urban Gorilla. In the struggle, yo. Changing up the game on these lanes. Peak game. Flunk off half glass of fame. Well, fill up your cup. If that's your thing. But me, I wasn't here. This ain't no game. You never saw me, cuz I never came. That's them little white lies that they claim. But you know what I say?
Check game. Hey.
No warning. We coming.
Coming
Knee deep in
deep
the
in the
underground.
underground.
Like GMJ say, we ain't fucking around.
Around.
Time to stand on up. I didn't stutter.
So what?
I ain't got to get gangsta up in here and stick up Wild Bill Hiccup. The homies know we got to click up, show enough.
Showing up. Yeah.
And the brakes get picked up.
Brakes get picked up. Yeah.
Ain't so tough when the hood rough you up. Shout out to Ike. It looks thrilling, the hood man of steel. We both been lied to. Let's keep it real. I'm Morpheus, and my black power fist is a black power pill for the resurrection of the mental dead. Like Shabaka said, plug that shit back in their head.
Oh yeah. Like Shabaka said, plug that shit back in my head. And I say, oh, in the underground, baby. How y'all doing out there tonight? Everything's alright. I'm trying to check a few things out. And a little sound check. I don't know how it sounds. Is that a little bit better? Is that a little bit better? Or is that a little bit better there? I think this is a little bit better. A lot of people like it like this. Some people like it like that. And right in the middle is good too, you know. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, sound check. Whoa, we got the beat. Sound check. Sound check. For the people. Oh, that must be the one with the echoes. Sound check. All right, let's see the playback level. I think I got a little bit too much reverb. Take some of this reverb off. And put more reverb on, actually. Put more reverb on. And hey, all of a sudden, you know what? I think, hell yeah, let's leave that there. Wait a minute, hold on. I'll leave it here. I'll put it in the middle. Should I put it in the middle? I don't want things to be ringing. And we gotta test out the system and see if the wait a minute, hold on. We gotta test out the system, make sure they're going with the music. Okay. Let me test that out. Hold on. I think I got that too much with the reverb. I'm gonna turn that down, and while I'm turning it down, let's go get y'all black over here. See, Gangsta Files, we were on. Where is it? Right then.
Department is almost entirely white, and he's thriving. He infiltrates operations nobody else can get close to. He busts dealers the department has been chasing for years. His arrest numbers are so high that his supervisors can't believe what they're seeing. His name is Henry Marzette. They call him Blaze. Star high school football player, Korean War veteran, decorated narcotics officer, everything the city of Detroit wanted a young black man to be. But Henry Marzette was learning something on that narcotics squad that nobody expected. He wasn't just learning how to catch drug dealers. He was learning how they operated, how the supply moved, how the money flowed, who controlled what. He was taking notes. And when the Detroit Police Department caught him extorting the same dealers he was supposed to be arresting, When they convicted him and sent him to state prison, Henry Marzette didn't come out reformed. He came out ready, because now he knew everything the dealers knew and everything the police knew, both sides of the game simultaneously. Within a few years of walking out of prison, Henry Blaze Marzette would become Detroit's first black godfather, the man who tried to cut the Italian mafia out of the entire city's drug trade, the man whose war left 150 people dead in less than 2 years, the man every Detroit kingpin you've ever heard of, Young Boys Inc., Maserati Rick, Demetrius Holloway, Big Meech modeled themselves after. And it all started with a decorated cop who decided the wrong side of the law paid better.
I mean,
to understand what Marzette did, you need to understand what Detroit looked like for a black cop in the 1950s. The department was almost entirely white. Black officers were rare, and black undercover narcotics officers were almost non-existent. That was the problem. Detroit's drug trade was growing fast, centered in black neighborhoods on the west side and east side. The white cops on the narcotics squad could not infiltrate these communities. They stuck out. They got spotted. They got nothing. Then Henry Marzette walked in. Hometown kid, Korean War veteran. He had seen combat, earned respect, and proven he could handle pressure. He was smart, charismatic, and he could move through Detroit's black neighborhoods like he belonged there, because he did belong there. The narcotics squad put him undercover, and he delivered. Marzette set arrest records. He was busting dealers left and right, getting inside operations that white officers could not touch. The department loved him. He was their solution to a problem they could not solve. But here is what was happening behind the scenes. Every dealer Marzette busted, he studied first. He learned their supply chains, their distribution networks, their pricing, their territory, their weaknesses. And then he started playing both sides. Instead of just arresting dealers, Marzette began extorting them. Pay me or I bust you. Simple. A narcotics cop with the power to destroy your operation or protect it depending on how much cash you put in his hand. He wasn't just corrupt. He was running a business inside the police department. By the late 1950s, it caught up to him. Marzette was convicted of corruption and sent to state prison. His career in law enforcement was over, but his real career was just beginning. Marzette walked out of prison in the early 1960s with something no other drug dealer in Detroit had. He knew both worlds. He knew the streets.
What's the quickest way to reduce leg swelling? Is it drinking lots of water? Nope. Avoiding salt?
Kicking the commercials in the ass. That's the best way to do it. You gotta kick your commercials straight in that booty, and that usually works. In the meantime, while they trying to drop their lines, and you know they're gonna get theirs, and I'm just trying to get mine. If you don't. So here we go. Keep it moving.
I am deeply concerned about the conference room.
600 poor, illiterate African-American sharecroppers were recruited with promises of medical care. Only 399 actually had the disease, but none were told their true diagnosis. The participants believed they were receiving treatment, unaware that they were part of a secret experiment. The men received meals, basic assistance, and funeral insurance as incentives, but not the cure. Even after penicillin was discovered as an effective treatment in 1947, the study continued until 1972. Victims included infected wives and children born with congenital syphilis. The case became a symbol of institutional racism and medical abuse. In 1997, Bill Clinton issued a formal apology.
Yeah. And y'all up with some MOBSTER files tonight. But yeah, this is more like the intro for Nightmare Fuel. Oh yeah. And bring it to y'all like this too.
1951, Dr. Albert Kligman of the University of Pennsylvania began using Helmsford Prison in Philadelphia as a site for medical experiments. The complex, inaugurated in 1896 and known for its radial design, housed thousands of inmates. There, Kligman saw a scientific opportunity and initiated tests that would later be associated with the development of retin A, but also serious ethical concerns. For 2 decades, prisoners received applications of creams, deodorants, shampoos, hair dyes, and industrial chemicals. Many suffered severe reactions, such as burns, blisters, scars, and intense pain. Reports also describe poisonings and constant inflammations. Some inmates were subjected to as many as 20 tests at the same time.
To the G. Yeah. What? Happy to see they home.
Stay woke. Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah, good sleep, stay woke.
Something just broke. Good sleep, stay woke. Nightmare Fuel.
Sleep, stay woke.
Good sleep, stay woke. Nightmare Fuel.
Nightmare Fuel, y'all. Like 607 I'd say, stop playing with me. Ow, I'm your Nightmare Fuel. Keep you up all night. Stay woke. Try to be nice, but I'm really that ninja. Woo. Nightmare. Mofos don't know. Nightmare Fuel. Hear that? But stay woke. Nightmare Fuel. But sleep, stay woke. Nightmare Fuel. Check that out. Foot sleep, stay woke. Nightmare Fuel, baby. But tonight, just bring y'all some of that gangster files. Like, find a black gangster files. Hey, why not? Somebody gotta do it.
It caught up to him. Marzette was convicted of corruption and sent to state prison. His career in law enforcement was over, but his real career was just beginning.
Uh-oh.
Marzette walked out of prison in the early 1960s with something no other drug dealer in Detroit had. He knew both worlds. He knew the streets, the dealers, the supply routes, the territories, the players. He had spent years studying them from the inside as an undercover cop. He also knew the police, their methods, their informants, their blind spots, their weaknesses. He had been one of them. No other criminal in Detroit had that combination, and Marzette used it to rise faster than anyone the city had ever seen. Within a few years, he had built drug, gambling, and extortion operations across the entire city. He headquartered everything out of the Safari Room Lounge on Livernois, on Detroit's near west side. The Safari Room was his throne room. Musicians, actors, and celebrities passed through. Motown was exploding in the 1960s. Detroit was the music capital of America, and Marzette made sure he was connected to all of it. He sat in VIP booths while the Temptations and the Supremes performed across town. He threw parties that mixed entertainers with enforcers. Deals were made, disputes were settled, orders were given. If you wanted to do business in Detroit's underworld, you came to the Safari Room and you talked to Blaze. Nobody refused an invitation to the Safari Room because everyone knew what happened to people who disrespected Henry Marzette. He did not raise his voice. He did not make threats. He simply made things happen. And the things that happened to his enemies were the kind of things people whispered about but never said out loud. And Marzette looked the part. He was obsessed with mink coats. He wore them everywhere, a trend he started that every Detroit drug dealer would copy for the next 3 decades. When Maserati Rick wore fur in the 1980s, when Demetrius Holloway wore $15,000 Italian suits, they were following a style that Henry Marzette invented. But the mink coats were just the surface. Marzette purchased real estate across the country and across the world. He owned vacation properties in Jamaica, the Bahamas, and the south of France. A former cop from Detroit's narcotics squad was now a jet-setting millionaire with properties on 3 continents. He made millions. He hobnobbed with celebrities. He lived a life that most people in Detroit, a city being hollowed out by white flight and the collapse of the auto industry, couldn't even imagine. And he was just getting started. Because Henry Marzette didn't just want to be the biggest black drug lord in Detroit, he wanted to cut the Italian mafia out of the game entirely.
Cut him out
if you eat garlic raw.
They say cut him out the game altogether. Homeboy was not messing around, you know what I mean? He say cut him out of the game. So that's what we do. We're going to step it up. Wait a minute. I gotta either move the camera or move the mic. I don't move the mic. I don't really want to move it. But it's got some nice colors. Hold up. Maybe I got to like this. Oh shit. Unplug it. Unplug it again. Well, oh hell. Damn. Little fuck. I ain't give myself enough room on this mic, y'all. But y'all can see one thing. Say, hey, stepping up the game. So while I'm stepping up the game, need y'all to hit the cash out, baby. Please, penny of 20. And we'll get right back to you. We're having technical difficulties, and our technician is working on it now. Got to switch hats. Oh, shit. Like, man, that's what I get for not letting somebody else do this stuff. It's like, come on, man. I ain't even give myself enough room, wiggle room. Damn. And I know y'all can hear it on the other thing, hopefully. Maybe not. Ah, damn it. Needed more wiggle room. Mr. Wiggles is in the room. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like Mr. Wiggles is in the womb, Which womb is Mr. Wiggins in? He's wiggling in the wiggle room right now. Oh my. Silly wabbit. So Elmer Fudd say he's in the wiggle room. But then you come out of the wiggle room. Hold up. Wait a minute, hold up. Here's where you don't want to go.
The bites, it looks just like wet dog food. You know what they feed the pigs out on a farm? That's what it looks like.
nasty. It's nasty stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't feed my dog it.
If they don't like the food, too bad. Don't come to jail. Can I have Chinese one week, Italian the next? What is this, a hotel? I'm going to take away their butter now. Save another $100,000.
How cold-blooded. He gonna take the butter away next. Don't go. No seasons at all. Goodness gracious. In the wrong season at the right time. And now they're gonna step it up. What did they say? Alligator Alcatraz is next. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's, like I said, only thing.
Grand wasn't just a motel. It had a dinner club and a performance venue attached to it, owned by Numbers lottery mogul Edward Fast Eddie Wingate, a longtime associate of Detroit's Italian Taco Zerilli crime family. And on this day, inside one of the conference rooms, Henry Marzette had assembled every major black dealer in Detroit for a meeting. All of them, in one room.
Everybody.
Marzette stood up and made his pitch. The Italians had controlled the drug supply in Detroit for decades. Every black dealer in the city was buying from Italian sources, either directly or through middlemen connected to the Taco Zerilli family. The Italians set the prices.
Me to you.
The Italians
no
took the biggest cut. The
no
Italians held the power.
Mr. Wiggle Room.
And what did the black dealers get? The risk,
in the middle of
the prison time, the violence, the dead bodies in their neighborhoods. The Italians sat in their suburbs, counting money while black men killed each other over territory the Italians ultimately controlled. Marzette's proposal was simple. Cut them out completely. Every black dealer in the room would pool their resources, find their own supply sources overseas, and build a distribution network that didn't need the mafia at all. A black-controlled drug trade in one of America's largest cities, run by black men for black profit. It was the most ambitious and most dangerous idea anyone in Detroit's underworld had ever heard. Because the Italian mafia didn't lose territory peacefully, and everyone in that room knew what the Taco Zerilli family was capable of, they called it Little Appalachian, after the famous 1957 meeting of Italian mafia bosses in Appalachian, New York, that had exposed the existence of organized crime to the entire nation. But Little Appalachian did not go the way Marzette planned. New All Steel, known as the Rusty Nail, a West Side rival backed by the Italians, got into a shouting match with Marzette at the summit. Steele would not bow down. He refused to join the coalition, and he made it clear he would fight anyone who tried to cut his Italian backers out of the game. The meeting fell apart, and the shooting started.
Say what happened was they were supposed to have a meeting up in the Appalachians and up in the mountains, right? They were supposed to have a big old meeting up there. It was a great big setup because they had wired, whatever, the informants. I don't know if they had wiretap or anything, but I know they were listening to the call easier back then because it's just on the wire. Tap into the wire and listen on in. I haven't been there. Some kind of way they were surrounded by FB motherfucking I. Yeah, all the alphabets up out of in there. And it's like, come out, put your guns up, shooting, because we want to have a shootout tonight. And it's like, man, they trying to. You got gangsters running through the damn woods and alligator shoes and tripping over themselves, and they got nice suits and stuff on, and Damn. Getting all muddy. And you got hound dogs from the FBI running them down. Well, something like that. Well, you know what I mean? Actually, more like this.
How much you paid for him?
Shit, about $250,000.
Do he bite?
Oh yeah, he a killer.
What food he eat?
Shit, humans.
He paying with Reggie. He got me good.
Hey, I'm telling you now. Let's see. And by the way, press 1.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional, press 7 and your call will be transferred to the mothership. If you are schizophrenic, listen carefully and a small voice will tell you which number to press. If you are depressive, it doesn't matter which number you press, no one will answer you. If you are dyslexic, press 69696969. If you have a nervous disorder, please fidget with the hash key until the beep. After the beep, please wait for the beep. If you have a short-term memory loss, please try your call again later. And if you have low self-esteem, hang up. All our operators are too busy to talk.
Hey, fuck. I ain't got time to be talking to you low esteem. Well, that's what he said. I'm gonna make time. It don't matter. It's all good. But hold on. We gotta make room on the mic. Testing. Well, before I came, I almost left y'all in the dark. Goodness gracious. I'm like, testing. I'm about to turn, reroute that wire on that mic because it wasn't long enough. I got to do something about it. And I'm about to. But while I'm doing that, here, I'm going to not leave y'all hanging. Like that. That's the band, y'all. Alvin Keith on guitar. Fried Funk on bass. Super Drummer Tyrone on drums. Yours truly, Black Lightning on vocals. All right, black in the house. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna say black in the house. Let's try that. All right, y'all gonna watch me. Like James Brown. Watch me. I gotta push this wire on up the line. I gotta. Because this damn thing come out a couple of times. I got it. Oh, baby. What you need? Soul power. You know we got it. Y'all, repeat after me. I am a black revolutionary. Not a happy slave. But I gotta get this on I'm here too. Step that up. Okay. With the boom, boom on. But I had to get the heavy duty one. Look at my attention like the mic. And then this interface. What it really won't cost a whole lot of money. I mean, you boy. Oh. People to put in some donations. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about getting a different one other than this model, though. Everybody been going with this model, but I seen another one that's a bad mother jumper, but that's just me. I like pretty I like beautiful things. Lady. Uh-oh. Make me break off into a love song, baby. Ain't nothing but a love song. Oh, let's get back to our feature presentation. And about
One man, but the violence consumed everyone. Marzette's lieutenants were being killed. The East Side 12's people were being killed. Bodies were turning up across Detroit, in alleys, in parking lots, and in the trunks of cars left at Metro Detroit Airport. Bobby Martin, known as the Big Bopper, one of Marzette's top enforcers, alongside Jimmy the Killer, fell victim to the hit parade too. Witnesses went missing. Informants stopped talking. Nobody wanted to testify about anything because the people you testified against had a habit of finding out, and the people they sent to deal with it had a habit of not leaving survivors. The killing spilled out of the underworld and into the streets. Regular citizens were getting caught in the crossfire. The city was already reeling from the 1967 riot. Now the drug war was adding bodies on top of bodies. Detroit's murder rate was climbing toward the highest in the nation.
Now we can move it up here.
That became a signature of the war. A body in the trunk, left at the airport like a message. And the most famous trunk of all belonged to Jimmy the Killer himself. Days after Labor Day, 1971, Moody's body was found in the back of his brand new Eldorado Cadillac, parked at Metro Detroit Airport.
The
man suspected of 15 murders, found in the trunk of his own Cadillac at the airport, the same way he'd left so many of his own victims. Many believe Marzette himself ordered the hit on Moody, not out of betrayal, but as a strategic calculation. The killing had gotten out of control. The war was bad for business, and Moody was the engine of the violence. So Marzette shut off the engine. By the time the war wound down, the body count was staggering. Over 150 casualties in less than 20 months. Some sources say the number was closer to 200, 150 people in a year and a half, over who got to sell what and where in Detroit. That's not a drug war, that's a military conflict. The war consumed Marzette too, just not with bullets. He had been battling a rare disease attacking his kidneys. By the early 1970s, the condition was killing him. To stay alive, he purchased a state-of-the-art mobile dialysis machine from Ford Hospital, costing $30,000 a year to operate. At the time, it was cutting-edge medical technology that almost nobody had access to. A former cop, a drug lord, keeping himself alive with a machine that cost more a year than most Detroiters earned. And even as his body was failing, the violence around him kept escalating. Then, something extraordinary happened. Vince Piersante, the head of the state of Michigan's organized crime division, and a former colleague of Marzette's from his days on the Detroit Police Department, went to visit Marzette at his mansion. Think about that scene. A top law enforcement official visiting the most powerful drug lord in Detroit at his home, not to arrest him, not to interrogate him. He went to ask him to stop the war. The same man who had once been Marzette's fellow officer, who had watched him rise from decorated cop to drug lord, who had spent years trying to bring him down. Now, he was standing in his mansion, asking him for peace. Piersante later recalled that he went and saw him at his mansion at the peak of the war. They both agreed the killing had to stop. They both agreed. A cop and a criminal who had once worn the same badge, agreeing that the killing had gone too far. Shortly after, Jimmy the Killer Moody turned up dead in his Cadillac. The war's engine shut off. Henry Blaze Marzette died of kidney failure on April 10, 1972. He was 45 years old. At the time of his death, he was facing a tax evasion case linked to an $85,000 IRS debt. some of which was connected to the dialysis machine that had kept him alive. The IRS was trying to collect on the machine that had given a dying drug lord 2 extra years of life. But Marzette's corruption didn't die with him. It had infected the Detroit Police Department from the inside out.
How about that?
After his death, investigations revealed that multiple officers on the force had been working for Marzette the entire time. Former colleagues from his narcotics days, men who still wore the badge, had been taking payments, leaking information about raids, and protecting his operations from investigation. The Pingree Street Pingree conspiracy, a sprawling corruption probe centered on Detroit's 10th precinct, eventually indicted 10 police officers for crimes that included supplying dealers with product, robbing and extorting other dealers, and leaking information about police raids. Several of the black officers caught up in the investigation had been recruited directly by Marzette during his time on the force. Investigators estimated that at least 200 members of the Detroit Police Department were actively involved in facilitating the drug trade. 200 cops in one city. Marzette hadn't just built a drug empire.
200.
He'd built a corruption network inside the
no
police
goddamn
department
200
that outlived him by years.
Ever.
The system he created, cops protecting dealers, dealers paying cops, became the template for Detroit's police corruption for the
slave
next
catchers.
2
We don't
decades.
need that many slave catchers. Not
Whoever invented this deserves a raise. I don't know why it took until 2026 for people to realize you don't need.
Whoever invented commercials needs to be shot in the head, dead, man. But that's what they do. They gotta get their 2 cents in. I'm trying to get mine 2 cents in. Matter of fact, y'all can help me just by hitting the cash out. And then that'll solve that. $ black. Ophanim #1. But where did it go? Hold it. Put it up on the screen. Make it easy for the people. There you go. Black. $ black Ophanim #1 on Cash App. If you don't have Cash App, download Cash App so people can send you money and you can send people money without having to go to the Western Union. Of course, most times the Western Union stuff, like, well, the wrong person picked it up. Something, always something in the trenches, you know what I mean? Always something in the trenches. So, yeah, y'all hit that for me. And we'll be good to go. From now on. Oh, I've been looking for this. Hold it. Hold up. About to make some magic. Here we go. All right. Yeah, y'all. Had to go with a little magic on it. These damn headphones so sensitive, they pick up every damn thing. I was like, shh, I hear it. People all the way down the street. Stuff like that. But it is what it is. Speaking of which, what it is, people. And matter of fact, I'm going to get back to the, if they finish making their money, because I don't like them interrupting us too much. So I'm going to get their thing in. Yeah.
Drug lord him followed his blueprint. Young Boys Incorporated, the organization that would dominate Detroit's drug trade in the late 1970s and early 1980s, was founded by men who idolized Marzette. Their leader, Milton Butch Jones, openly patterned himself after Blaze. He even secured Marzette's former lieutenant as his first major supplier. Maserati Rick and Demetrius Holloway, the men who ruled Detroit's East Side in the 1980s, modeled their operations on Marzette's structure. The fur coats, the celebrity connections, the real estate investments, the enforcement arm, the best friends gang, the Chambers brothers, Johnny Curry, Big Meech, and BMF. Every single one of them was following a path that Henry Marzette carved. A retired DEA bureau chief who worked Detroit in the 1980s said it plainly. Young Boys Incorporated, Demetrius Holloway, Johnny Curry, they all aspired to be their own versions of Henry Marzette, and they all achieved that to some degree. Marzette was the template, the original, the man who proved that a black criminal organization could operate independently of the Italian Mafia in a major American city. He has been called arguably the first black drug kingpin in the United States, not just Detroit, the country. And he started as a cop. That's the part that should stay with you. A decorated police officer, a man who set arrest records on the narcotics squad, a man the department trusted with its most sensitive operations. He used everything they taught him, every tactic, every informant technique, every blind spot in the system, and he turned it against them. The Detroit Police Department trained its own worst enemy. They gave him a badge, a gun, and a master class in how the drug trade worked. And when he was done with the badge, he kept the master class. Henry Blaze Marzette, Detroit's first black godfather, the cop who became the kingpin, and the man whose shadow still hangs over every street corner in the Motor City 50 years after he died.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with
Motor City. What's happening, people? And don't forget, we will be bringing you Nightmare Fuel too very soon indeed. But in the meantime, in between time, watch over your household. Make sure don't nobody go running down there to get the draft on. And it's against our religion to fight foreigners for whatever you said. Just like Ali said, he wasn't going to fight no Viet Cong because ain't no Viet Cong. He would call him no Negro. So, here's my own little commercial right here for you.
Was a bar called Jack's American Star Bar. Soldiers on rest and recuperation flooded in every night, young soldiers spending combat pay before flying back to Vietnam. Behind the counter, a heavy-set man wiped down the bar top, checked inventory, swept the floor. He played cards with soldiers after hours and laughed at their jokes. If you walked in, you'd assume he was the janitor. That was the point, because this man was smuggling 1,000 pounds of heroin per year into the United States on United States Air Force cargo planes, valued at $400 million. Across 7 years, on American military aircraft, through Army post offices, onto the most heavily guarded bases in the country. He never carried a gun. He never committed murder. He never raised his voice. The DEA built an entirely new unit just to find him. 3 years, 3 continents. And the only reason they caught him was a single palm print on a plastic bag. His name was Leslie Ike Atkinson. The DEA nicknamed him Sergeant Smack. And you've never heard of him because Hollywood gave his story to someone else. You've seen the movie American Gangster starring Denzel Washington. It grossed $268 million worldwide, Denzel's biggest film ever. It tells the story.
That'll be on the next Mobster Files. Just a quick preview. Show the people what we're going to bring to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, y'all can all dig this. Check this.
Revolutionary. Say it like it means.
Like, mean it. I am.
On one. I am a black revolutionary.
Not a happy slave. What's happening, man? And I'm about to get up out of here. So I hope y'all enjoyed that Mobster Files. Top to death. Who else can bring it to you like this? Oh, you know, it got to be your main name.
On the two, y'all. One. Two. I am a black revolutionary. Original Earth Sky Band. The original Reckless Abandon. Greatest band of all time. Black Powerful. Beat Master Tyrone on the drums off the muscle.
Oh yeah, it's definitely always fun when I'm hanging out with the people, y'all. So yeah. Yours truly, the Black Ophanim Lion.
Yours truly, the Nomad.
I almost skipped a step. Man, what I said was Tuesday. Goodness gracious, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking ahead, but let's look back and say today is March. Monday, did I say Tuesday earlier? Hey, scratch that. Take that part out. Leave that part in because we ain't got no time to be taking nothing out. Yeah, today is Monday, March the 16th. And happy birthday to all the people that got birthdays tomorrow. Black Powerful. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, no, we got 2 birthdays this week. Shoot. TJ got birthday. Shout out TJ on birthday. Yeah. Okay. And now, let's see. That's it for me. Y'all can hit that, what is it? The Benevolent Fund. $ Black Ophanim #1. So we can keep it coming. Matter of fact, we got way more equipment we need to get. So your donations will definitely help. If not, I'll definitely be getting a cup of coffee for sure. For sure.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China Russia or any totalitarian country.